How would you like to see something that you've never seen before? So full of wonder it'll amaze you. So sensational it will shock you. So spectacular that you'll tell your friends and your loved ones that you were the first to see it. Step right up and see the greatest show on earth. That'll be 25 cents, please. It was a crisp autumn day on October 16, 1869 in Cardiff, New York, when a farmer named William Stub Newell instructed 2 men to dig a well near his barn. As the laborers toiled away, their shovels suddenly hit something solid. They carefully removed the dirt around the object, trying to expose what was impeding their progress. Moments later, the workmen hurried into the house, exclaiming that they had uncovered something extraordinary. Stub rushed to the spot, and in disbelief, they gazed down upon a gigantic, 10-foot-tall, 3,000-pound stone man. They spent the next few days excavating the site as word quickly spread of their miraculous find. Newell was amazed at the amount of people who were coming out to his little farm just to have a peek at his Cardiff giant. The shrewd man that he was, Stub saw this as an opportunity to make some money. So he erected a tent around the stone figure and charged 25 cents for admission. Yet despite the fee, the number of visitors continued to rise, and Stub was pleasantly surprised by his good fortune. Soon the rumors of a petrified man spread across the countryside until the Syracuse Journal confirmed the astounding discovery. Buggies, stagecoaches, and wagons were now arriving at Newell's farm, so he doubled the price of admission to 50 cents. A young woman was heard to say, "Nothing in the world can ever make me believe that he was not once a living being. Why, you can even see the veins in his legs." People began to wonder where the enormous being came from. Was it a fossilized giant human, as referenced in the Bible? Could it be a statue carved in antiquity by an ancient Native American tribe? Despite the varying theories, the Cardiff giant was now a sensation. But there were skeptics who doubted the authenticity of the giant, and some even questioned the story surrounding its discovery. Cornell University co-founder Andrew Dickson White was especially critical. After visiting the site, he questioned why Newell would dig a well when there was already a stream running nearby. When he examined the statue, he found no evidence that ancient sculpting techniques were used. And on top of that, it was comprised of gypsum, a mineral not native to the area. When White interviewed neighboring farmers, they reported seeing a tall, lanky man who frequently visited the farm. He seemed to be instructing Stub, who was handing over his gate receipts. This man was identified as Stub's brother-in-law and business partner, George Hull, and one farmer recognized him. "Why, that's the man who brought the big box down the valley." One evening the previous fall, outside of a tavern along the Valley Turnpike, he noticed a wagon carting an enormous box. Hull told him that he was bringing some tobacco-cutting machinery from his farm to Syracuse. But despite White's suspicions, Newell and Hull continued to profit from their sideshow. The Cardiff giant was now a national attraction, and a banker named David Hannum struck a $30,000 deal with the 2 men for majority ownership. He moved the giant to Syracuse, where it was prominently displayed in an exhibition hall. And of course, they raised the price of admission to $1. Newell, Hull, and Hannum were now making some serious cash. And that's when P.T. Barnum, the greatest showman of his time, caught wind of the giant. He wanted a piece of the action and offered Hannum a staggering $50,000 for his prized possession. But Hannum declined, realizing there was still more money to be made. Not to be outdone, Barnum quickly cooked up his own scheme and hired a team of workers to carve a duplicate. Then he unveiled his own giant, denouncing Hannum's as a fake. With a knack for sensationalizing oddities and never passing up a chance to display his showmanship, Barnum lured scores of people to check out his replica. Needless to say, Hannum was enraged. He filed a lawsuit against Barnum for his fraudulent imitation and slanderous remarks. The case went to trial, and the validity of both giants was closely scrutinized. The 2 statues were very similar, as they were both carved recently. An analyst stated, "If the giant had been in the ground for any length of time, the lines would have been worn away." The case was at a stalemate, and then, unexpectedly, George Hull came forward and confessed that the Cardiff Giant saga was an elaborate hoax of his own creation. It all started a few years earlier when Hull got into a disagreement with a Reverend who was adamant that giants had once roamed the earth. With a failing tobacco farm and a desire to mock the Reverend's claim, Hull devised an elaborate stunt that fooled countless people. He acquired a special gypsum rock with a vein-like composition. Then he hired 3 sculptors to secretly carve the stone Titan in an isolated barn outside of Chicago. They painstakingly sought to create a human likeness by meticulously carving pores and then aging the statue with sulfuric acid. From there, he shipped the giant by train to Cardiff and then hauled it to Newell's farm. He arrived in the dead of night and buried the huge statue between the barn and the house. They waited a year for the earth to settle and for anyone who had possibly seen the giant being transported to forget about it. 1 year later, Stub told the workmen where to dig so they would accidentally find it, and the rest is history. The lawsuit between Barnum and Hannum was thrown out, as both of their statues were declared fakes. Despite the case against them, everyone involved earned a great deal of money, returning 15 times their original investment, because Barnum, Hannum, and Hull all knew there's a sucker born every minute. Step right up and see the greatest show on earth. How would you like to see something amazing, something spectacular, something sensational? Come on in and see the greatest show on earth.